I'm Victoria, Disability Claims Specialist. In this video, I will go over what an ideal CPP application timeline looks like. After you watch this video, you'll understand how long a CPP application should ideally take you and what steps you should be checking off the list as you go through in applying. For CPP disability to be considered eligible, you typically have a wait time of 4 months that you need to have been off of work to be considered eligible to receive the claim. This is what I base my ideal timeline off of. During this time, while you're waiting to become eligible, you should be preparing and applying for CPP. The first step of this 4-month-long process in preparing your application would be dedicating the first month to preparing and receiving all the forms that you will be needing to fill out throughout the process. This dedicated month to preparation will entail a couple things. It will require you to obviously print off the forms necessary in applying, reviewing the actual forms so you have a general idea of what it is you're going to be filling out. You'd also need to book an appointment with your doctor so you can review the forms necessary that they will need to complete, as they will be required to complete a medical report form on your behalf. And of course, you want to confirm that you have their support. Aside from that, we dedicate part of this time to setting out what the next few months are going to look like as you prepare and complete these forms. So I suggest you take out a calendar and you break down on your calendar through the suggested timelines in this video what you're going to get completed and by what time, so that you have an idea and a framework as to when you need to get things done by, and you have a visual to see how much time you have left before that looming deadline is coming along. Lastly, in this first month, I would say dedicate some time to retrieving and receiving and researching any type of information and resources that you need to better understand the process and what it is that you need to complete on your end to put your best application forward. Now, the second month during this 4-month process will be dedicated specifically to actually filling out the forms. Now, it's important that you get this right, and of course, if you're filling out these forms, you must have a disability or condition that might enable you to do this all at once. So we suggest you break it apart. Break it down into separate days or weeks, whatever it is that's most convenient for you. Just make sure that you take the time to really read the questions correctly and accurately and fill out the information that they're asking. If there's something that you're not sure of or it just doesn't apply to you, leave it blank, come back to it. If it doesn't apply to you at all, just put NA for not applicable. Go through the application section by section. If there's a section that you need more space and it's not provided to give more detailed information, then take out a blank sheet of paper and just write it up on that, or type it up on your computer and print it out. Put on the actual section the page number that you're attaching and write that exact page number on the sheet that you're going to put in the back of your application so that you can give them as much information as required. Make sure you are as clear and concise as possible. For example, if you are detailing the treatment you've received, make sure not to just put you've received a treatment. Detail when it was, what the date was, where you received it, and who the treatment provider was. The more information you can give, the better. The next part of the process, I suggest you dedicate 2 weeks to. These 2 weeks will be specifically dedicated to writing a narrative statement. Now, Service Canada does not require you to submit a narrative statement. However, if you've listened to any of our other videos explaining this on CPP disability and why we suggest it, you'll understand why it can actually hold incredible value and can actually enhance your application. So we really do highly suggest that you take the time to write one and you take enough time that you're not rushing through it. So I say 2 weeks is about the right length of time that will give you a chance to sit down in multiple sessions, take time to check away at it, review it, edit, and then you can finally submit a narrative statement that is clear, concise, accurate, and you can be confident in submitting. The last part of this timeline, I say to dedicate 6 weeks to. 6 weeks is dedicated specifically to just putting it all together and making sure that everything is in place, in order, and make sense. So one of the things I typically suggest that you do is ask an entrusted family member or friend to review the application form and all the additional information that you've added that you're going to be submitting, to make sure that there's nothing that needs to be finally edited at the end that might be missing or that just might not have been filled out properly. They might also have additional information and knowledge on your situation that you might have forgot to provide that might be helpful for Service Canada to know. Always trust your gut, and certainly only ask someone that you trust to be privy to the information you're submitting. If you're unsure about anything that you're going to be submitting, or you just don't have someone that you trust that can review the information with you, this is the point of the process that we suggest you search out legal help to just review the information and to better understand whether or not you're on the right page. Now, this is the point where you can make any final edits and changes after you've had someone trusted review it or a legal representation review your application, or both. You're gonna make sure that you have everything that needs to be enclosed necessary to have a completed application. Make sure that there's no necessary forms missing, and make sure that your doctor is indeed completing the form and that they are actually sending it off themselves. That is one key thing that you want to be very clear on when meeting with your doctor, is knowing whether or not they actually are submitting the form, or if you need to go back and get it yourself to send it along with your application. Now, after watching this video, you should know that it can take you about 4 months to prepare a really successful application for submission. Be aware though, this is the time that you're going to submit it, and Service Canada isn't quick to respond, so just be patient. It can take up to 6 months before you actually receive a decision. It depends on how backed up Service Canada is with processing applications, as their department can process other types of applications as well. And we want to make sure that you aren't waiting around thinking that they've forgotten about you or your application has gotten lost. It is very typical. So that is all. Now you should know what a CPP application timeline ideally should look like. It should take you 4 months, and you should break those 4 months down into certain sections, chucking away one thing at a time, making sure that you're putting forward your best application. So what should you do next? Well, if you're watching this video, you should probably start working away at your application. Or you can check out our other videos on CPP disability so you can learn more about maybe some other questions that you have with regards to the process or the specific program. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more information and to stay up to date on anything else CPP disability.